4th Street, and we got Mo Dogs on 88.5 this year.
3, 2, 1. It's that time of the day. Welcome to the 4th Street Sports Show, an award-winning student podcast covering all things Golden Eagles. Welcome back to 4th Street, everyone. We are here for another great episode of 4th Street, guys. As always, it is your host, Smooth Oz. I have with me Charlie, Jackson, Nathan, and we're missing Dima again. He's out in Las Vegas. He's probably at some strip clubs right now.
No,
exactly what he's doing.
I don't know, man. Dima is living his best life, though. We are missing him, definitely missing him, but we are on the better things right now with Southern Miss football, guys. I wouldn't say better things. I'll take that back. But Southern Miss football recently just lost to the U, number 15, Miami, 30-7, which they played a great first half, guys. They came out, played a great first half. The defense looked excellent, but in the second half, things went downhill from there. But moving on, though, we have a special guest on with us. Coming on for a second time on the show on 4th Street, we have Joshua Mackie. He is a part of the Eagle Esports on the Rainbow Six Siege team. He's the team captain and the gameplay / programming manager. Mackie was also a part of the NECC national team that won the Rainbow Six Siege title this year. So congratulations to him, and we're happy to have him on. And right after that, we'll have some more talk on football. But before we get into football, let's get into our Eagle Eye and just talk about all the great things that Southern Miss Athletics has lined up. Take it away, Jackie.
Yeah, we got to start off here with some volleyball action. Southern Miss Invitational took place over the weekend, and it had some entertaining matches, including Friday. It started out with a 5-set battle against undefeated Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin took a 2-set lead before Southern Miss fought back and made it an interesting game where they would eventually fall in the final set, 15-13. Mia Wesley set a career high.
Yeah, we were watching that game on the road. She set that career high 31 kills, which was just crazy. But also, Kenzie Smith, I think this one unnoticed, she got a career high 59 assists in that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the tournament, she had a total of 118 assists, which was phenomenal, and she actually won tournament MVP. So congratulations to her. Like you said, Jackson, she's a special gal.
Yeah. The Golden Eagles swept Day 2 against Mississippi Valley State and Houston Baptist to win the Invitational. Smith was named MVP of the tournament, and Wesley was named to the all-tournament team. And like y'all said, Wesley is now second in the nation with 5.36 kills per set. And Kenzie is 22nd in the nation in assists per set. Southern Miss is now 7-2. They head to Jacksonville, Alabama to play in the Jacksonville State Invitational. Friday they will have two matchups. First, 1:30 p.m. against Auburn, and then they close out Friday against Jacksonville State at 7 p.m. before their finale in the Jacksonville State Invitational against Jackson State at 1:30 p.m.
Also, I'd like to add to that, Southern Miss right now is currently atop the Sun Belt at 7-2. They actually made the NCAA volleyball Twitter today with the little belly dance, the worms.
I saw that. That was fun.
It was pretty cool to see that. So they are atop that, and take it away, folks.
Yeah, we're going to move on to soccer. Obviously, we talked about Coach Mo and had Haley Knowles on the show to talk about that SEC tour they had. And they closed out that tour with matches against Mississippi State and then Ole Miss. They lost the first match against State 2-0. Again, kind of held their way in that first half, but 2 goals by the Bulldogs took that lead away for the Golden Eagles. But they earned their first clean slate of the season yesterday, Sunday, against the number 9 ranked Rebels. The opponent, again, controlled the shot totals, but Alex Helbling, new goalkeeper, she got to see first action last year. She came up with 6 saves to keep it a draw. So the Golden Eagles finished their non-conference slate 0-4-1. Obviously, it doesn't look good, but they were all SEC games, and they now turn to the Sun Belt. They'll travel to Huntington, West Virginia to take on Marshall this Saturday at 6 p.m. to start that.
Yes. So that'll be interesting to see. Southern Miss soccer finally gets to go into conference play, which will be interesting. We know last season they were the CUSA West Division title winner, so we'll be interested to see how they fare in the Sun Belt now. And first match, like you said, against the former CUSA opponent against Marshall, so that'll be good. And moving on, before we get into our weekly wrap from the Miami game, we have some updates on football, guys. Receiver Brandon Hayes is ruled out for the season after suffering a knee injury last Wednesday after practice. I know you were there, Jackson, and you talked about that a little bit last week. Talked about it a little bit earlier in the week. And also, Hattiesburg Americans David Ecker reported the news. From that, the Sun Belt Conference now has a weekly teleconference that they do, and where reporters can check in and stuff. And he reported that from Will Hall this morning. Also, we wish him the best on his recovery moving forward. Hayes was actually a starter, so that was kind of tough for him. This was his first year starting, just starting the season now starting, and that will be interesting to see, and we wish him the best of luck. Also, Southern Miss versus Northwestern State is this week at the Rock. And following that, against Tulane, where they recently just announced that the game will take place at 6 p.m. on ESPN+. So that should be a great matchup right there. So moving on, without further ado, let's play our weekly wrap and see what happened at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, baby. Southern Miss would get out to a promising start against number 15 Miami after a 32-yard touchdown from Zach Wilkie to Jason Brownlee, making it 7-3 in the top of the second quarter.
Well, it was one-on-one. The safety was playing one high, and I just looked down the middle of the field and threw it to JB, and he's going to make a play all the time. Every time he throws the ball, he's going to make a play.
True freshman QB, Wilkie would get the start for the Golden Eagles after speculation of the Superback offense, with Ty Keys sitting out due to a concussion earlier in the week.
We made the decision to play him because really more about Miami than us. I got great respect for Miami and what they do, but they are really, they're real base on defense, okay, and they let their athletes play, so we knew Zach would know where they're going to be and be able to get his eyes right and let his talent take over. Well, thought his eyes were right, thought he threw a really accurate ball, which we see every day in practice.
The Golden Eagles led throughout most of the first half, in part due to stellar play from the defense, with 3 combined sacks and an interception by defensive back Malik Shores.
This defense, man, is probably the best defense I've been part of since I've been here at USM that I can actually say that I contribute to. First half was just unbelievable. These guys play hard. They're going to continue to play hard. We're going to continue to play hard.
The tide would turn, though, on a rushing touchdown by the Canes, Henry Parrish Jr., to end the first half at 10-7.
We had a ball in our hands. It would have been a great catch by Brownlee right before the half. We don't make the catch. We punt it to them. They score. Then we start the second half. We run out of bounds 1 yard short of the third down marker. Then they get it and score. At that point, it swung.
Miami then exploded, scoring 27 unanswered points to take the win 30-7. There was a lot of positives for the Golden Eagles against a top-ranked team, but tons of improvement left for a team trying to find its first win.
I think we're a little bit closer than we were before we woke up this morning, all right? And I think we're really close to getting this thing over the hill. And once it gets over the hill, it's going to go downhill at a high rate of speed, and we got to hurry up and get it over. All right, and we recognize and understand that. We got a lot of good kids that are working. They're doing everything right all the time. We do have talent now, and I think we're a little closer than we were. We got to get there faster.
And that was our weekly wrap on the Miami game. Miami is they were ranked number 15. Now they're ranked number 14. They moved up a slot this past week. We know there was a lot of shakeups, guys. A lot of shakeups this past week and a lot of great games in college football. And just to mention a few, just in the Sun Belt, 3 teams from the Sun Belt took down Power 5 teams. and I sent out a tweet. It kind of went popular, guys, but I was announcing the Sun Belt as the new Power 6 conference, guys, and that was something that was huge. But in those upsets in the Sun Belt, we had Appalachian State beating Texas A&M 17-14, Marshall beating Notre Dame 26-21, and last but not least, in the night game, we had Georgia Southern beating Nebraska 45-42, which actually got Scott Foster fired in Nebraska. So that was pretty bad, but those were some of the upsets in the Sun Belts. I just wanted to mention that before we go into a little bit of Miami. But guys, just share what you guys think about the Sun Belt right now and just how they fared this past weekend.
I mean, obviously, there's expectations for Power 5 teams, and there's kind of this like barrier that people create with especially the SEC and then other teams. But the Sun Belt's proven that they're right there to compete with these teams, and I think there's a time and a place where people just have to understand that these teams can compete with anybody, and if last week was to show anything, then it showed that.
Yeah, I would say the App State victory over Texas A&M was probably the most impressive because you look at Notre Dame, every other year it seems like they're kind of up and down. Still a great win by Marshall, but you look at Texas A&M, ranked number 6 in the polls, and then Appalachian State, after giving up, I think it was 63 against North Carolina, didn't even allow A&M to have a red zone snap. Just absolutely unbelievable and a great victory. And then Georgia Southern going to Nebraska, a hostile environment, and doing that. Just a great week for the Sun Belt, and that means if Southern Miss is able to knock off one of these teams, it looks even better on their resume. So that's definitely great for the conference overall.
No, yeah, and I'll just add on to what you said. That App State, that was impressive. Personally, I watched the Georgia Southern one against Nebraska, and that was impressive to see. And at the end of the day, I think it's just good to see more competition, a more competitive conference. At the end of the day, that gets those Southern Miss players ready to play anyone, when they know that they're playing against someone that's a team that can beat anyone, at least a Power 5 school in the country. So, yeah.
Yes, and just to add to that, they would round out at 26 and 27, both teams. So they would barely miss the top 25, which I feel was kind of bogus, guys, especially when you take down a team of this magnitude. And just going back to the discussion with Notre Dame and Marshall, I felt like Marshall had the more impressive win, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Only because Notre Dame just came fresh off of playing Ohio State, which they played fairly well. We thought that Ohio State would go in there and blow them out, and it was 21-10. It was a very defensive game, and you have Marshall comes in and knocks Notre Dame off. I thought that was the game of the weekend of Sun Belt and was really impressive, and shout out to Marshall for that. But that's just some takeaways around the Sun Belt, guys, before we dive back into Miami, and we'll talk about a little bit more college football a little bit later in the show. Me and Jackson have some beef to settle still with Alabama and Texas, but we'll get into that later. But just, guys, give me some takeaways from this game. I know you, especially Jackson, were surprised. For the people that hadn't listened to our prediction podcast that comes out weekly every Thursday, me and Jackson and Dima were having a discussion, and I felt that Zach Wilkie would get the start, and Jackson and Dima were like, no, the super back is here. They're gonna take down Miami, well, not take down, but they're gonna face Miami with the super back. Frank Gore's gonna come out there, and it was the complete opposite. So just share some takeaways. I know a lot of people were surprised by Zach Wilkie getting the start, but just his overall impressions or first impressions you guys got on Zach Wilkie.
Well, I thought that he did everything that he could against, making your collegiate debut against number 15 Miami in Miami, that's no easy task. And when you look at his line, his line isn't like going to pop out at you, but just watching that was like, wow, we have not seen this from Southern Miss in literally probably a year. We went back and looked at the last time they had that many completions was in October of last year against Rice when they put Jake Lang in. And he had 23 completions in that game, and Zach Wilkie had 16. Yeah, that was the game that Jake threw over 300 yards, but still 200 yards from Zach Wilkie. They haven't been, there's been so many struggles passing. So to see the ball get in the air to the receivers they have, something we've been saying, they have great receivers. We saw Brownlee really. I think that could be Brownlee's kind of breakout game to the public. We all know who he's been, but he had some eyes on him that game.
Yeah, like you said, the athletes of Miami are a little bit better than the athletes of, say, a Liberty or a Grambling State or something like that. So for him to perform like that on that big of a stage was definitely great to see for the young man. I really did not expect Zach Wilkie to get the start. I said on the predictions, I didn't think he was going to throw a pass because Will Hall went with the superback after Ty Keys went down. And watching practice this week, I wasn't sure. I didn't see a whole lot of superback reps, but for them to not run superback a single time against Miami was stunning. And the way Zach Wilkie was cool, calm, and collected was really something to see. I thought he played better than Tyler Van Dyke of Miami, who was supposed to be an NFL draft prospect, maybe even a Heisman hopeful. Wilkie had a higher QBR, better completion percentage for Van Dyke, but the difference is Miami was able to run the ball at will, and Southern Miss really didn't even have a run game. Zach Wilkie was their leading rusher with not many yards, maybe 25 last time I checked. 29, so there you go. But the way he was able to make throws, and Miami's defensive philosophy was to stack the box and to make Zach Wilkie beat them. And in the first half, he did. And he did really good. So it'll be interesting to see going forward. Obviously, there's going to be a quarterback competition between Ty Keys and Zach Wilkie. I'm intrigued to see how that one goes.
It makes it so much more interesting now.
It does. And you made the point that only thing I could think about watching that game was how confident Zach Wilkie was on that field. I mean, you throw out a true freshman, and not to beat him down, but he was a 3-star. It's not like he was some 5-star, everybody in the country wanted him, and to throw him out there against a number 15 Miami, a team that just came off of a massive win with 70 points, it's hard to have confidence going in that game, and that was impressive on my, what I took from that game. The biggest takeaway, though, the running the ball, you're not going to win. Southern Miss specifically is not winning a game if they can't run the ball. And Miami found a way to stop that, and that was pretty much the story of the game, in my opinion. That second half is that Miami made the big adjustments to win the game, and Southern Miss was unable to find those adjustments against Miami.
Yes, the adjustments that Miami made in that second half were completely phenomenal. They were a completely different team in that second half.
The first drive, they got it. They ran 10 times. Mario Cristobal must have been like, hey, this is what we got to do. This isn't working.
Yes, and the thing to that, though, was that in the first half, they were trying to run the ball, and they weren't successful. But those holes opened up for those guys, especially Henry Paris Jr., who rushed for over 100 yards on 20-some of the carries. So it was a phenomenal game for them in the second half. Miami looked totally different. And for a minute there, Jackson, I would have to agree. Zach Wilkie looked better than Van Dyke. But in the end, Van Dyke kind of, he had the more completions and had the better stat line. But for a minute, Wilkie looked like the better guy for a second there. And it looked like an upset for a little bit. I know a lot of fans were hopeful for it. Me and Charlie were on the sideline, for those who don't know. But me and Charlie was actually shocked. I was like, what? I can't believe my eyes right now. But the defense played well. That first 30 minutes was phenomenal football for Southern Miss. They just have to now play for 60 minutes now. And there were a lot of miscues. I know that one thing that I can go back to that could have maybe changed the game right there was when Miami was driving and Nathan Brooks had an interception and he dropped the ball.
It was in his hands.
It was in his hands, and he came down and he hit the ground and he lost the control of the ball. And that was a huge play. And Coach Hall talked about the Jason Brownlee play right there where he dropped the ball right there when they were making a drive. And it was another instance when they had an offensive line penalty that pushed them back, and when they were in scoring position and they were around Miami's 30, and then it pushed them back. So there was and that was in the late second quarter. But there were a lot of mishaps that could have probably changed this direction of the game. But it was interesting to see Southern Miss play that well against Miami for 30 minutes. Now they have to put it together for 60 minutes, and hopefully they can get back on track against the FCS team in Northwestern State. So we will have to see. But are there any other takeaways you guys have, or
I just want to say that what was, I would say last year the biggest concern everybody was asking about was the defensive line. And that game showed that this defensive line is deep and Tyler Van Dyke was uncomfortable that whole first half. 2 consecutive sacks on that one drive, but it wasn't just the sacks. They got 3 in the first half, 4 in the game. They were just pressuring him pretty much every play that whole first half. And I think the main thing that Malik Short said is that they got to keep that energy. Obviously, it's going to be hard against a physical team like Miami when they start, running it down your gut. But in the Sun Belt, if they can keep that energy throughout the game and then get some help on offense like we saw for the first quarter in this game, then Southern Miss, they just got to get all these puzzle pieces together at the same time.
They do. Because speaking of puzzle pieces, we look at one game, Liberty. The rushing attack was there, over 200-something rushing yards. And now we have the passing attack going. And Jason Brownlee, like you guys said, was phenomenal. That was his coming out party to the nation right there. He played well, especially the head top catch that he got over the defender right there when they was driving. That was a special catch. But man, they have to put the pieces together now. One game is the rushing on the offensive side, the next is the passing. Now you have to kind of gel those two together and see where the pieces meet. So that was interesting to see. Anything else, Nathan and Jackson, before we close out?
If there was ever a game to kind of put the puzzle pieces together, like you said, it's against the Northwestern State, because then you got a tough road game against Tulane, and that's really when you're going to have it all together.
Of course. And that will do it for us. We will be back after the break with our special guest in Joshua Mackie, a part of the Eagle Esports team here, and a part of the national title team that won Rainbow Six Siege in the NECC conference. We'll be back with more. This is 4th Street, baby. Let's get it. on 4th Street with our special guest, Joshua Mackie. As I stated before we went to break, he is a part of the Rainbow Six Siege title team that won a national title, guys. A national title here on campus. Just first off, man, how you doing, Joshua, man?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. This semester has been really good so far. For only being like a few weeks in, I've honestly enjoyed it. It feels good to be back at Southern Miss and be back competing with the Eagle Esports program. I mean, super excited to be back. By the way, I know it's been a while since I've been on here last time.
Yeah, and speaking of that last time, man, the last time we spoke to you was in March. Since then, like I said, a lot has happened, including your team winning the first ever national championship, man. I guess I'm going to be repeating myself here a lot. But could you, for the Eagle Esports program, could you just catch us up on the news, man, and just what's going on with that, man?
Man, a lot has changed since March. We're actually under new management now. We actually have a dedicated esports coordinator. His name is Mr. David Dicker. Shout out to him for all for coming in at a wonderful time. We're growing at a rapid pace. We recently just had our signing day, which we signed about 76 new players, but also increasing our numbers and just how many people are involved in competitive space. We now have over 250 plus members involved in the competitive space within Eagle Esports. We now offer 3 new titles to our collection of games we added. Valorant, Halo, Fortnite got added too. I mean, for those who love some Fortnite, Fortnite's now officially a game that we offer here on campus. And just our Rainbow Six team even has a new roster member. We actually have a full team of 10 players currently signed to the team. We are currently full. And let me tell you, it feels so nice to see so many new things get added to the program.
Yes, and for those that don't know, Joshua is the team captain of the Rainbow Six Siege team and the gameplay/programming manager. And speaking of just the new additions, man, did I hear you correctly? Did he say 76 new people?
Yeah, how has that been adding all that new people?
It's not easy. I remember the signing day. We actually had it in the John Paul Theater here on campus. And, walking in there and seeing all the potential new players was just mind-blowing to me. Coming from just having probably 15 players at most to having 76 new players. That's almost that size almost more than a football roster, if I'm correct.
Yes, yeah.
That's almost, crazy to think that 76 people want to do this. And I honestly couldn't be more thankful to find that, to just be a part of such a nice organization, kind of a family to me. Because seeing all these new recruits, half these are freshmen too. And I'm supposed to graduate next December. Just seeing the legacy that we have created, that some of us older players have created for all these new people, is just amazing to me.
And you came on the show last March kind of talking about how you thought the program could grow, and it kind of seems like just skyrocketed since then.
Ooh.
What does that just say to you to see all those new faces, with you being kind of a veteran, or, seeing these freshmen come in?
I mean, to where we are now, to where we once were, it's just a testament to how quickly we can adapt to change, for sure. But especially having a new coordinator, too. I was kind of scared at first, I'm being honest, kind of scared of what would be next after hearing about we're adding new games, have a new coordinator, things might be run a little differently. I was kind of scared because, I'm so used to doing this one thing. And even then, I added a lot more to my plate this semester. I'm a graphic designer for the program now. I help with production. That's a lot of stuff. Also being a student and also a work study student as well. It's a lot, but just seeing all these people, who say like, hey, this is like a kind of a safe space for us. I like coming in here, meeting new folks. I like coming in here, work production. Even if you're not even a competitive player, we've seen a growth in just the amount of people who just want to meet new people. And that's the whole point of why I felt like we started this organization, was to meet new people, to create a connection that can be remembered even after you graduate. I've met so many great people because of Eagle Esports, and I cannot thank Eagle Esports, USM enough for making this a program. Without Eagle Esports, the connections I have now, it probably wouldn't be even possible.
And you talked about those multiple different hats that you hold in the program. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting it wrong here, but you said graphic designer. What else was it?
I'm lead graphic designer. I also assist with production. I also work with social media, help with social media, while also being an R16 captain and coach this time around too. It's a lot. I will say it's definitely a lot, but I can ask for a better organization to do this all with because I love the Eagle Esports program here. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to see this program grow into something bigger and better than where we are now.
Of course, and just talking about that, for a lot of people that don't know, there are a lot of different careers and just job fields in the industry. Could you just talk about that? I know you listed them off right there, but it's kind of interesting, that, esports needs all these different things. And just could you talk about just all the different hats that can be held and just the industry going in itself?
For sure. So I know when our coordinator first came on, he wanted to really emphasize that we want to make esports a part of a lot of people's academics career. Because I remember you telling me earlier today was that you are a videography major, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That can also be attested to some of our team members. I know some who are interested in graphic design, who wants to do videography, wants to do video editing, or just camera operations. People think of esports as just we sit there and we play video games all day, when that is simply not the case. Yes, you can make a career out of playing video games, but there's other things like say I'm a coach. I can take those leadership skills and just team management skills and apply those to other fields. I can work in production. I want to work in graphic design. I can work in camera operations. And I know a lot of graphic designers who may want to start making motion graphics. When we all watch sports, you see all the motion graphics on NCAA, ESPN. Working in esports can actually get your foot into the door and working in ESPN. It's not just video games that we do. It's also production, leadership, team management. There's so much more than just video games. And if you want to go into video games, but play okay. You want to be an esports player, you want to go pro one day, that is still possible. But it's not just pro level you can get on. You can even become a college esports coordinator. I know a lot of colleges now who are actually looking to start a program like this. Mm-hmm. Having the experience of saying that, hey, I was a part of this program. We grew in the 2.5 years we've been here to seeing this numbers, to seeing these numbers now. I mean, a lot of colleges will look at that and be like, wow, they know how to grow a program quickly. So just seeing all the different fields within the esports industry, I feel like a lot of people forget that it's not just video games. There's so much more to esports than meets the eye.
Is it fair to say that being a national championship winning program really maybe adds legitimacy to the culture and kind of improves? And also, where do y'all go from here after being at the top?
Especially in your first year as the team's captain.
Let me tell you, now having a national championship in the title, I mean, I'm super proud to even have the title, but it's definitely a lot of stuff that comes with that. When you think national champion, everyone's going to expect you to be at the top of your game. Our season hasn't even started yet, and I already feel like a little nervous because when you have national championship in your name, they're going to expect the best from you. And I feel like having one loss to that record, they're going to automatically think that, I don't know if they're the national champions or not. Because a test to Alabama. They win the college football playoff. They win championship. Coming the next season, they lose one game. People are going to start talking about them. They always do that. So I feel like we're like another Alabama. We win a championship. We may not have as many, but having a national championship, a lot of faces are going to be looking towards you, being like, what's next for a program? And I am going to promise this until I graduate. I want another championship. Because one national championship is not enough. I want more championships. I want a division. I want a regular season. I want another national championship. I want to bring home as many championships to this program before I graduate. And yes, it's nervous. I know people who join our team, they look at us as national champions. They're like, oh man, I gotta play up to their standards. I always don't want you to feel nervous just because we're national champions. We're still the same R6 Southern Miss team that first started the season with just a group of guys who just love to play Siege to now being national championship. We're still that same group of guys who just love the game and just want to do the best in it.
And could you just talk about that cohesion there to get to that national title and just what was the build up to that starting the season and going all the way through to the title?
I will say I remember our first season in the fall of 2021. I remember when we in Carolina first lost. It was definitely an eye opener for me because I was okay, we lost our first game. Definitely can see us getting better. Ever since we lost that first game, we've been on a high roll. We go to playoffs that first year, we get second place. That kind of stung. We sat there for 5 hours just to come in second place. Definitely that was something we wanted to get off our shoulders. Going to the spring, we go to playoffs in another league, we get first rounded. And so we were like, man, I'm going to second to being first rounded. I mean, we thought that was it. Then it turns out we get an email saying, hey, qualify for nationals because of your second placement. We were like, wow, we have a chance to prove that we are one of the best teams in Mississippi. And to playing that whole summer and winning that national championship was a testament to all the hard work that was put in, not only by me, but by our players, by the staff, by the Eagle Esports staff. I mean, and just my teammates in general. I mean, they put in a lot of work. I know that some of these are students as well. I know one of them's in band too. And I know I did not want to take away time from being in band, but to see him also put in the work to help this team get better, to make himself better, and for just all my teammates for putting in all that work towards nationals from the first season to the second season. And like as Charlie mentioned, my first season as captain, I didn't expect us to win no national championship. If I'm being honest, I didn't expect it because I didn't know what to expect. It was my first time being in that leadership position, and I was uncomfortable with it. So I'm super proud to say that for my first season, I was national champion. That's pretty good. Not bad. Now, of course, I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to promise many more championships, and I hope to bring home more championships to this program. But yeah, I mean, like I said, shout out to my teammates, honestly, for all the hard work they put in to win that national championship.
Hey, let's talk about production a little bit, and it seems to be a major focal point of your team. Your social media page for the month of August was actually ranked number 21 in the nation in interaction. How important is that side of social media and getting more eyeballs on y'all's product when y'all are winning national championships?
I mean, for sure. I mean, Twitter, I like to say Twitter is our main focal point of getting stuff out there. Because a lot of people, you meet a lot of people on Twitter. People are always on Twitter. And just having our name out there is really a true testament. Because I was looking at that list of seeing all the top schools. To be even mentioned in that list of schools, I remember when I first saw the list, we were like number 99 out of 100. I was like, okay, we're starting somewhere. Then to go from 99 to 21, absolutely crazy. I mean, I appreciate everyone for the support they have shown us on Twitter, for constantly keeping updated with us. I mean, if not because of them, we wouldn't even be 21. And I just, like I said, I always thank the support of everyone from students to parents to players to even those who may not know from across the United States who may know about the USM Esports program. I thank them so much for all they have done for us. And like I said, Twitter is, like I said, our main focal point of interaction because of just how popular Twitter is, especially within the collegiate esports space. I know some pages have like thousands and thousands of followers, and they always try to keep them updated, even on the littlest things. Like if we're having like a small tournament, we always keep them updated on stuff because of how popular Twitter is, especially within the esports space.
And y'all recently announced your new roster for this season. Could you just tell the viewers about when they can catch you for the next season and kind of how are you returning lots of your players, getting new players?
So my roster this semester is still the same, but we just added one new player. He's a freshman. Actually, our whole new roster is nothing but freshmen. And so it's going to be kind of weird, you know. Some of them are kind of new to the collegiate esports scene, so it's going to be interesting trying to see what they bring next. But our season actually starts next week. We do not know the schedule yet, so keep your eyes peeled for the schedule. But if you want to keep us updated on our schedule, you can find us on Twitter at USM Esports. And we'll also be live tonight on Twitch. Shout out to our Rocket League team, by the way. They're playing tonight against the Toronto Metropolitan University on Twitch, which will be twitch.tv/Southern Miss Esports. You can catch that live if you would like. The game starts promptly at 6 p.m.
And what about your podcast? Are you still doing the podcast?
The podcast, man. Those are live on Twitch as well at Southern Miss Esports, live every Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm super excited to bring back the podcast. I'm looking forward to another season. You know, love to do a co-host with y'all one day. That would be kind of cool to just do. Hey. That would be nice.
Collab.
Too. That would be awesome, by the way. But yeah, that's our podcast is back up and running. Looking forward to starting season 2 with my new co-host too. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff happening for Eagles Esports, and I cannot wait to show you all the results from it.
And lastly, man, before we get you out of here, man, what's next for you, Joshua, man?
I mean, I'm gonna take it slow because I'm supposed to graduate in December. I'm gonna enjoy every moment I have with this program because it's not gonna be long before I graduate, and I'll have to step down, and you know, someone else can take my spot. But I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy being a part of this team. I'm gonna enjoy the work we put in at USM Esports, and I'm gonna put in as much time and effort as I can to make this program bigger and better than it is now, because you know USM Esports, we're coming. We're coming. Just be aware.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Joshua Mackie, a part of the Rainbow Six Siege title team that won the national title for the NECC championship there. He is the team captain and the gameplay/programming manager. Thanks for coming on, Joshua, man.
Of course. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Definitely. After we come back from out of the break, we will be back with our flowers section, and me and Jackson have a couple things to hash out between Texas and Alabama. So, without further ado, thanks for coming on again, Joshua, man. We will be back on 4th Street, baby.
that time of the show. We're now giving flowers.
And welcome back to the flowers section. Brought to you by University Flowers and Gifts on Highway 49 here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And without further ado, guys, we'll jump into our flower section, and then me and Jackson, we still have some beef, man. We still have some beef. But without further ado, let's get a drum roll going for our 4th Street Player of the Week. Congratulations to Jason Brownlee, wide receiver for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, who had 5 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown against number 15 Miami. Brownlee scored the only touchdown for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, and he actually had a highlight reel catch. And Charlie is right here in the camera. If you're listening on the radio station right now, Charlie has the bouquet. Oh, I'm sure bouquet of flowers right here on the table for Jason Brownlee. Whenever we see him, Brownlee, we're looking for you. You have people looking for you.
Thank you to University Flores for the beautiful
running.
bouquet. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Thank you for the bucket.
It's not just a bucket. It's some beautiful flowers, some yellow roses brought to you by University Flores, and gifts. So thank you to those beautiful ladies out there on Highway 49. And without further ado, let's move on to our honorable mention. I'll let you take this one away, Charlie.
Okay, so we felt bad for leaving Malik Shorts off because he just had another great performance, but we had to fit the other ladies on there too for the 4th Street Player of the Week poll. But still, Shorts had another double-digit tackle performance. He actually had 13 on the box score, official box score against Miami, and he earned an interception against Tyler Van Dyke, which I mean is crazy because I'm not gonna disrespect Van Dyke, but he before that game he was a dark horse Heisman candidate, and last year Shorts picked off Bryce Young, and then he comes in this year and picks off Van Dyke. So I mean Shorts. He's just got that dog in him.
Interception king, especially against Heisman contestants.
Yes, the Heisman killer, I think we should call him.
The Heisman killer. Yeah. Shout out to Malik, man. He's having a special year so far, and we definitely wish him the best. I know he had a hamstring injury at the end of the game, but
just a cramp.
Just a cramp, but things seem to be fine with him, and we wish Malik Shorts the best. He's already at 25 tackles on the year.
Yeah.
After just 2 games. I
gotta say, Cam was also getting a lot of good action in that game too.
Yes. So shout out to Malik Shorts. He was last year's leading tackler. So if things keep going that way, he may end up the leading tackler for this year also. So shout out to those 2 special Golden Eagle athletes on the football side of things, Brownlee and Malik Shorts. And like you said, speaking of Mia Wesley and Kenzie, go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but Mia Wesley and Kenzie Smith both got career highs and kills and assists to earn the tournament win. And Wesley is now number 2 in the nation for kills per set, which is just absolutely wild. Last year she was up there, but she's on another rank this year. Number 2, short behind number 1. So we'll have to keep that in mind. And Kenzie Smith is not too far behind when you look at assists per set. Everybody's really close, but she's in 22 and really just behind by 1 assist per set for the top spot. It's really close. So she can move from 22 to, let's say, top 5 next week.
Yeah, so Southern Miss Volleyball is something to watch. Like we stated earlier, Southern Miss Volleyball is 72 on the season currently. They would drop 1 game in that in the Southern Miss Invitational to SFA Stephen F. Austin, but they would bounce back and get that the Southern Miss Invitational title win. But they are phenomenal right now. Two special women on the leaderboards, on the national leaderboards, with Mia number 2 and Kenzie knocking on the door. And last but not least, shout out to Alex Helbling. There we go. Alex Helbling, where she would have herself a clean sheet. She would not give up any goals against the Ole Miss Rebels up there in Oxford. So that shout out to her. And now they go on to Huntington, Virginia, to play Marshall. So that is something interesting. Speaking of Marshall, we talked about them defeating Notre Dame and one of my big schools in Texas. You see the connection. Austin, Smooth Austin, Texas, Longhorn Nation. So we almost got the Bamas, man. We almost got Alabama, man. Not Nathan, but Jackson was throwing the horns down, and I almost want to rough his collar a little bit. And he's still doing it. But definitely, let's just talk about that game, man. That was one of the best games of the week, aside from the Sun Belt upsets. Let's talk about that, man. Any first thoughts on that?
I mean, I can make some connections, too. Your name's Austin Lindsay, and the first letter of that is L, which is what Texas took on Saturday.
I think you all knowing it all week.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed in the Hard Rock Stadium press box. They actually showed South Carolina at Arkansas. That was the game they were showing on the TV, so I didn't get to see a whole lot of Alabama versus Texas, but I know we were waiting in the whatever waiting room that was for the press conference and watching the score, and it was just really good. Texas I'm not going to say they're back, but they played pretty good.
They played
Alabama
pretty
Quinn Ewers is
survived.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is that guy. And aside from him being hurt, he would have been that guy.
Yeah, I think they would have won.
Yeah, but it was an interesting game. The refs definitely gave it up to you guys, Jackson. So
Oh, yeah,
shout out
sure.
to the refs for Bama, man. They pulled it out for Nick Saban and company. But it was an interesting game, and also, man, my Cowboys are not looking good, man. We're not looking good. Somehow, some way, you guys, the Saints, find a way.
Who that, baby? Who that?
Some way, somehow, y'all find a way, and Jameis Winston has one of the funniest post-game interviews ever.
Pain everywhere.
Pain, and that's what I'm feeling as a Cowboys fan. It was a bunch of pain. Dak is out 6 to 8 weeks with a hand injury, so Cooper Rush is the guy, and I'm calling it. I think we're beating the Bengals. If the Steelers can beat the Bengals, I think we can. If Mitchell Trubisky can beat the Bengals, Mitchell Trubisky, guys, I think Cooper Rush can do it at least one time, right? But I don't know. Joe
Keep
Burrow might
dreaming.
not throw 4 interceptions. But it was an interesting week in football, just college football-wise and NFL. It's been a great football season so far. All the games, like I said, that I watched have been interesting. So me, Charlie, and Jackson were on the road back, and we were just watching football all day and just talking about it. And it was a phenomenal day of NFL football. Glad to have it back. And I'm still going to say Cowboys win the Super Bowl when Dak comes back. But any last thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up? And
I think nobody's listening after you said that. So we might as well
We
this
just
has been
lost
4th
all
Street Sports
credibility.
Show.
No, I have not. But this has been the 4th Street Sports Show. Jason Brownlee, we have your flowers right here, man. So come get your flowers. We have 3 yellow roses, man. You can give them to a special lady or whatever you want to do with them, man. But we have your flowers. Congratulations to Jason Brownlee for being our 4th Street Player of the Week and having a highlight reel catch, a head top as I call it. And without further ado, that has been 4th Street. And let's get it started, man. This is, that kind of sounded a little bad. This has been 4th Street Sports. You guys have a blessed week. We'll be back Mondays at 5. Be sure to check us out on Southern Miss Studio Media on the YouTube page to watch the live stream if you missed it. Check us out on all podcast platforms at 4th Street Sports Show. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back for more. Dima, we're looking for you. You better not be in the club. All right, we'll be back next week, Monday at 5.
3, 2, 1. This has been the 4th Street Sports Show. Tune in next Monday at 5.
Buffalo Cloud